Good morning, podcast community. Wow, 8 o'clock in the morning, and we have a candidate for post 5 in our special elections coming up May 21st. So we wanted you to meet Beatrice. So Beatrice, tell our viewers who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
Yeah, well, hi everybody. I'm Beatrice, and I am your candidate for Kennesaw City Council Post 5. And I am simply just a public servant. I've always just been in public service, serving the people of Georgia in various capacities, from the times I was in the U.S. Senate to the Georgia House of Representatives, and even fighting for families down under the Gold Dome at the Georgia Capitol. And now I currently work for planning for our state's transportation department. And so I know the impact of how each person lives and how important planning is, truly. And so yeah, that's why I'm running, and that's why I'm here, and I'm excited. I'm a mom. I am the only mom running in this race. I am a wife, of course. That's most important. And so I'm doing this because I'm raising my family here in Kennesaw, and we want to be proud of the city that we live in.
Well, I love that. We're going to go a little bit deeper because I know our viewers are like, why would you take the time to shake so many hands and work so hard for something that you don't necessarily, you could just say the other person can do it. So what made you decide that, hey, I want to make an impact?
Yeah, well, public service has always been my calling,
okay,
my life mission. And that was the thing that I said, I want to contribute to the city where I'm raising my family, where I'm living in. And I want to make an impact where I say, I've done this for the good, for the better, not just for my family, but for all the families. And so, and like I said, as I've done public service throughout the nation, throughout the state, I realize I can see the difference that other cities, other towns, the good things, the bad things that they have, and take that with me here to serve in Kennesaw.
Wow, I love it. Now, what's an average day look like? You get up and you have to go out and talk to people. Give our viewers an idea what a typical day is for you.
Yeah, well, being a working mom and everything, it's every day is different. It also depends on my toddler's mood that morning. But it's a mixture of making sure that I have enough time for my family, enough time for my son, for my husband, but also, yes, working as well. I work for the state, where I serve the people by making policy planning decisions that will impact our entire state's roads, infrastructure, everything. And then, once I'm done with all that, I take the time then until sundown to go meet the residents in Kennesaw, talk to them, listen to what concerns they have, listen to find out things that I didn't even see, open my eyes to these sort of things. But I also love people. I love meeting people, and everybody has a different story, and I love listening to that. And so that's been one of the best things about this campaign. But yeah, I'm doing all that. I'm also in graduate school at UGA, Go Dogs. And so I'm doing my public administration and policy master's. Wow. And so I'm getting that training really to know what a city, how to lead a city, how to lead people, how to lead all of that, and mesh that all together. And so that's why I'm doing this, and I feel ready and called now I've gotten all the tools that I'm ready to serve now.
I'll have to say, when I first met you and we were talking just briefly about being a mom, I was thinking, okay, mom power. And not knowing any of your background, I had no earthly idea. So I love the fact that you're out there meeting people in Kennesaw. What are the top 2 things that people are asking you continuously? What would that be like, that our viewers could kind of get a better understanding?
Yes, well, definitely I hear a lot of course, the first things are the apartments. housing that constantly is being built. And I get it. We are a college town. We're a booming city that's right along the interstate. And so, there's a lot of traffic that does come through here. But at the same time, yes, with that traffic, while these apartments are already being built, there's no city planning and infrastructure for these roads that are not there. And we already see traffic. I have difficulty trying to pick up my son from daycare because I'm stuck in traffic getting home. And I'm sure every parent that has that same issue trying to get home, or just people just want to get home from work after a long day. And so when more population is going to come in, we already serve 35,000 residents, and it's about to boom to about 50,000 residents, probably in the next, 5 to 10 years. Really, we've got to have better planning and infrastructure. Yeah. And City Council is about to be given the responsibility, actually, of $10 million of taxpayers' lost money that they get to decide. We get to decide then where that money goes, and I believe planning infrastructure for our city, because I hear we need intersections, we need red stoplights, we need this for safety, for this, for that, and so we need better planning in our city and update that really to this generation this year. So those are the biggest things. And then of course, downtown development. Our downtown is not as developed as our sister cities, and we're not taking advantage of the fact that we are a college town. We have the second largest college in Georgia, and we are not taking advantage of welcoming our families and our college students in this college town, and then having that revenue stream come back to us residents here in Kennesaw. So, those will be my top two priorities, and those are the things that I hear, especially from our citizens.
Being very well versed in your background, did you by getting in this race, was there a surprise that all of a sudden because just understanding very briefly where you're coming from, why you're training yourself for your master's in planning and development, what would you say was the biggest surprise? Oh, I didn't think about that, because you're out there meeting the people, you're talking to people. Was there anything that stands out?
As I'm just learning the history, learning bits and pieces of Kennesaw, because I've lived here for 6 years, and I grew up sort of around here. I mean, I grew up in Cherokee County, so, Kennesaw was always just nearby. It had everything from, of course, Costco to Town Center Mall to everything. And so, we always hung around here. But, just learning the history and kind of especially talking to some of the very kind of first residents of Kennesaw and hearing how things were like, the simpler times, really. And so, just learning about that and just listening to that and seeing how we can also make sure that everybody is included, because that's another thing that I hear, that, some people in the city kind of feel left out. And we want to include them, and as well as other things that I may not see as a young individual, that maybe the next generation has opened my eyes to things like, even this morning, just hearing about accessibility for disabled people in downtown. And so hearing and seeing those things. But campaign-wise, it's been an eye-opener, because I've worked on many different campaigns, big campaigns, and city council race has definitely been still a challenge. It may be the major minor league of campaigns, but it is cutthroat.
Yeah. It's as a person, and I'm just going to guess, of influence, which if I have to pick a word, I could say you're a person of influence.
Thank you.
So, and that doesn't come with, you don't wake up one day and be a person of impact and influence. It doesn't happen that way. So let's go back a number of years. At what point did you say, I really love service? I really like leading and being involved in service? Was it when you were a little girl, or did you get it a little bit later in life?
Well, kind of going back to my story all the way back. So I'm a first generation American, and that really inspired a lot of this. I'm
Hmm.
a first generation American. I was born in the Philippines. I grew up in Singapore until I was 8. And then my family and I, we immigrated here to the United States when I was 8 years old, actually 2 months before 9/11.
Hmm.
And because of that, everything changed. I saw after 9/11, the immigration process, everything was so different. But my family and I saw my parents, they sacrificed. They came here with nothing, but they worked hard
Hmm.
to build up that future for their kids, for their kids to have this great future, this current future. And so they're thankful. We're proud of all these things. We've always worked hard. You work hard for what you currently have.
Yep.
And that was always our mentality, our belief. And so that was my thing and then I realized that I had the gift of the gab,
Hmm.
and I could be the voice. I knew my gift. God's gift to me was I had to be the voice for those who don't have that
Mm.
voice. And so from a young age, I was always interested in politics. I was the weird kid on the playground with a clipboard going around the playground asking every kid that came down the slide if they were Republican or Democrat, and
Uh-huh.
educating them that they should know their party stance and this
Hmm.
and that. And so I was that kid. I knew, and I was always wanting to volunteer, be part of the community, publicly serving, all of these things. And I still do that. It's still a big part of me. I know people say, oh, well, you're doing a million things and you need to say no. I'm like, but I can't say no when it's something that's calling me, it
Right.
gives me joy and
Hmm.
fulfillment. And so this is something then that came up, and I said, I prayed about it. Of course, I don't do anything without first leaving it to God, and
Hmm.
I believed that it was the right time, and I went for it.
Dang, I love it. Okay. So I have to ask this question. In your family, like, are you like the go-getter or the person, the high achiever, or did it go to all your brothers and sisters?
Well, coming from an Asian family, yes, you all have to be successful. Granted, I am the oldest child, so
Okay.
of course I am the more outspoken, the more out there,
Hmm.
go-getter, that's for sure. But my siblings are very successful as well. I mean, my sister is a doctor; she's a pediatrician. My
Hmm.
brother is an engineer, and so in an Asian family, you got the perfect trio of all that, and so and also my husband, he's half Asian as well, and he's an aerospace engineer, so that excellence and everything thrives in both families,
Yeah,
and so where it's a thing that was, but we saw that though from our parents, the
right.
sacrifice,
I love
and
it.
that work hard spirit. And
Yeah.
that's why we ourselves decided on our own, we're going to do this. We're going to keep pushing through. We're going to, because I don't have, like I said, I'm not born with connections. I'm not
Right.
born with all those sort of, things. I had to work with all of these things that I've gone to my level now. It's
Hmm.
because I've had to do it in a sense on my own, get there,
Yeah.
meet those people, and push myself to be that person.
Yeah. I mean, I love it because I'll tell our viewers this, that they might not know how Beatrice booked this, but when we were talking at, I think it was a grand opening of a local business. And so we were talking, and here she's in another city and she books an 8 o'clock appointment for a podcast on Monday morning. Like, who does that? But a high achiever that wants to make an impact is what I would answer. But okay.
Yes.
And so, because our viewers always want to know, I always tell people get involved, get involved, get involved, learn your candidates, find out what they stand for. You want to be informed because we don't have a great city with people that aren't involved. So our citizens
Mhm.
need to be proud of Kennesaw. It's grown. Yes, the college or the university has helped us quite a bit, but you still have to manage all that. So, like, let's just say, like, what would you say to our viewers that they're saying, okay, I want to I want to be a part of a great city. What are you getting back to the infrastructure? What's the most important thing to you personally? Like, what would you like to do in your position? Let's just say, and I believe in every day you make it happen, because you
Mhm.
can't be overconfident. You got to make every day count.
Yes.
So, how do you manage your schedule? I guess what I want to know, because you have to be a superb productivity manager, because you got a lot going on.
Yes. How I manage it? I mean,
Yeah.
thankfully, I have the support of an amazing husband
Hmm.
who picks up the slack at home. And and whatever. Of course, I still try to make time for everything equally. But how I manage all that is just knowing kind of what's at that top priority for
Hmm.
right now, and I know that this is, of course, this is priority, and whenever someone reaches out to me or someone comes to me, that would be kind of pushed to the top of my list. I've
Hmm.
always known that people come first, the voters or the constituents, whoever. Always since my U.S. Senate days, we always our slogan was always think 159, which means we always have to remember that we're serving 159 counties of Georgia and each of those people.
Oh,
And
yes.
so we never forget. You can never forget each county. We always made it a mission to make sure to visit each county, listen to the people, have even just one-on-ones with some of them. And
Hmm.
so that's important to me. So with everything, I just try to balance it all. Even if I don't sleep or anything, I may have more late nights. Then I'll do it. If but the people come first. So if someone reaches out to me first, then I'll come. That's my focus first.
That's awesome. Do you have any like mentors in what you're doing? Like, have you like had some people that have influenced you over the years?
Oh yeah. I mean, lots to name, lots of good people for sure.
Hmm.
Some of my good mentors have been such influences in their not only in their work, but seeing how they deal with their family, and that kind of inspired me to see that. There's so much to name, but I mean, one in particular, especially, has been my good friend, my mentor, Senator Ed Setzler.
Hmm.
He really values his work. He
Yes.
values, but he
Yes.
gives back to the community. He'll be the
Hmm.
last one talking to someone, even though this person may not agree with him. He's still listening and listening and listening, and being there for that person. But he also then makes time for his family. His family still comes
Yeah.
first at the end of the day. And so I see that balance, and he's influential, impactful
Yes.
person, not
Totally.
just in our community, but in our entire state, crafting
Yes.
some amazing bills.
Yeah, that's I totally agree. I don't know him that, I met him maybe
Mhm.
once or twice, but I know people that know him. That's the same thing they say. And so I always like it when if people are talking about you in a positive way, you've made an impact,
Yes.
because there's conversations going on,
Yes.
and you want to be in the conversation of a person that has strong values, that
Yes.
that making an impact, that's serving out there. Because I think, like, sometimes if we look at our political landscape, not just
Mhm.
here in Kennesaw, but overall, we have an abundance of people that are in it for themselves.
Yes.
And I think the people with the hearts that want to serve are coming back. And
Yes.
it's like you just kind of feel it, that we've had too much of the self-interest of people, and not the interest of the people, and coming into politics because you want to serve, not
Mhm.
not the other way around.
Yes. And
So,
and
mhm,
realizing you work all together. You can't do it by yourself.
yes.
And so it doesn't take one, it takes a whole village. And also, I mean, not to make this totally religious, but the faith is important. And that was the
Yes,
thing. That's the
totally.
thing too. When Senator Ed Setzler, when he mentors me, he always reminds me to bring it back to God. And
Mhm.
before making any decisions, it is going back to him, because really,
Yeah.
he's got the plan. So
Yes.
we're just, if that's not, if he says no, not yet, then, we have to trust in that. So, and if he says go for it, then okay, you're going to give me the tools,
Yeah, that's,
the gifts.
I heard a person say like we do follow what God has it set up for us,
Mhm.
but we have a dial and we can dial it up or we cannot dial it at all.
Yes.
So we have a part in it of doing what God's gifted you. Obviously,
Mhm.
He's gifted you in an incredible way to make an impact.
Mhm.
So, how do you turn up the dial on a weekly basis? Is there anything that you kind of go that motivates you to really make a difference that day or that week?
Well, really, of course, back to my family.
Hmm.
It's back to my son, especially, where I want to be that influence, where, or that role model to possibly others. I've mentored other, young women, especially young girls,
Hmm.
and I'm always open to that. I love young people, especially mentoring young people. But with my son, or future generations, future kids, if God plant wills it, that, I want to make sure that I leave behind a legacy,
Mm.
that my mom contributed to this, or my grandma contributed to this, and made this impact, and did this, and help it not just make this herself, but influence people to come along and hopefully build up from that. And so, that's always been it's always what the future next generation sees. That's always been my big thing, because being that first of the family to do many things here in this country, it's always, okay, I'm the landmark in that sense. I've got to be that one that,
Hmm.
like, makes good, that name good, if, and hopefully impacts and influences them to do more good.
Yeah, I can tell just in our conversation here on the podcast that the solid foundation that you base everything on. What would you say to our younger viewers? Because I'm really like when people get into politics
Mhm.
to serve, and sometimes we say, I don't want that. I just have my life and I'll impact my community in a different way. So if you're like talking to our viewers that are young and that want to see a positive role model in politics, what would you say the reason they should consider getting involved?
Well, ultimately, it's just, it has to be, of course, a personal calling, and
Hmm.
and also remembering that it's the humility aspect, that it's not about them, that they're not running for them. They have to remember who they're running for. It's or serving. You're serving the people, you.
Hmm.
And so if you have that spirit, that want to serve, and that impact, and that's the thing. Yes, running for elected office, you're that voice for those who don't have that voice. You're the one speaking out for them and advocating for them. And so, if you're just kind of, you say, oh, well, someone else will do it, or someone, well, maybe they won't know what it is that, what they won't know
Hmm.
your struggles, or they won't know your neighbor's struggles, or this or that. And so, if you're given that gift, be that voice, be that advocate for them.
I love it. So what would you like, you're out shaking hands, you're talking to people, and what do you like as a family? What do you guys like to do for kind of downtime? Is there anything besides, is this like season, like we'll put everything off to the side until the 22nd of May. What do you like to do in Kennesaw that
Yeah.
kind of our viewers can
Yeah,
understand?
well, we still like to enjoy ourselves, because we say life is short. also, yeah, especially when you have a toddler, I don't want to blink one day and then realize I wasn't there to experience all of the things, as he's growing up. And so, we enjoy going to, now our concerts are, Blippi shows, Jurassic Park shows, all those sort of things. And, we find time for the family to enjoy these things, going to aquarium or museums and having him learn. And just spending time with the family. We also are really involved in our church community.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really important to us, special to us. We have a great parish that has lots of families, young families.
Mm-hmm.
And so we all kind of raise our kids kind of together, and we enjoy, we hang out, we have dinners, we have, just lots of different things. And so we still find time to enjoy and hang out. It's not, you can enjoy work, but you have to have that balance. You cannot be burnt out at the end.
Totally agree. Now, I want to be respectful of your time because you're a person on the move. So why don't you tell our viewers, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, well, you can go on my website, beatriceskakal.com, and it has everything there about me, knowing my platform, my stances, and just knowing more about me and my contact information. You can access my Instagram, my Facebook for all the up-to-date, anything that's going on. I'll be planning some candidate coffee hours at the Lazy Lab Coffee soon. Mm-hmm. And so just be on the lookout for those. And if there's anything you ever need, my contact is on there, my number is on there. Any concerns, anything that I should know about, feel free to always just reach out to me, and I'll be there for you. And remember, take a chance on B.
Ooh, I like that.
Yes.
Take a chance on B.
Yes.
That is wonderful. All right, before we close, I have one more question, but I do want to give our viewers a little update. We have an event coming up. We had to actually move it from the 21st to the 22nd because my church says, hey, we're a polling place. We can't be competing with our pollsters that are getting out there to vote. So Wednesday, we're getting our adult children with our senior parents. You want to date with mom and dad? Bring them to Ken Kington and Melissa and Larry. We have an event planned where you can come out and laugh and have a good time, enjoy time with your mom and dad. So that's going to be, here is this little QR code right here. You want to laugh? This is 45 minutes of gut-wrenching, clean comedy that will absolutely make your day. So keep that in mind. And so let me go to our last little bit. So tell our viewers, what would be the one thing that you would want them to take home from our time on the podcast?
Well, I just hope that when you're making this decision at the ballot, and I know that most people don't realize that this race is even going on, because it is a special election. Mm-hmm. And we are the last race on the ballot. And so, but yes, there you go.
Okay, here we go. Yes. I have shifted my support because it's green and I love the Masters. No, I do. I really like what you've said. And I really think that you're going to make an impact anywhere you go. So we definitely want you to make an impact in Kennesaw.
Yes.
So we had Jason on, and Jason's sharp guy. He's definitely got, so I think it's a 2-person race. Sorry about you other people. I don't even know who else is running. But anyway.
Yes, there's 5 of us on the ballot.
Yes.
I am the 4th name on the list. Okay. So watch out for my name. But I promise you, it's something that you do your research well. And I guarantee you, I am the best candidate for the job, the most qualified, and you won't be making a mistake if you take a chance on B.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Beatrice. We appreciate you spending time with us.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Yes. Awesome. We'll see you down the road on the campaign trail.
Yes. Remember, early voting starts today.
Yes. So get out and vote. Don't wait till the last day. You never know what comes up that you might have to take care of. Thank you so much.